your book, you mentioned that parents should ask themselves, what do I want my children to believe and think and know about God?
Parents must ask themselves, what do we hope our children will come to understand and believe about God? But do we want our children to hold and embrace our understandings? Or do we want them to hold and embrace the notion that they are free to discover their own?
Where's that balance in giving them that free mental space and yet advocating and believing and holding on to your own beliefs?
I didn't tell him that, you should live that way. I never said a word about that. But he kind of stepped back from that and said, you know what?
بینندگان گرامی، با درود به برنامه مامتاک مادر و کودک خوش آمدید. برنامه امروز در رابطه با Mental Health Awareness هستش و ماه اکتبر اینجا به خصوص در آمریکا توجه بسیاری میشه بر روی ارتقای آگاهی و نگاه بالا و به اصطلاح پر شوری در رابطه با بهداشت روح و روان. در این بخش برنامه با دوست بسیار عزیزم روما کتارپال، او نویسنده کتاب The Perfect Parent و به اصطلاح آموزش و پرورش و تعلیم معلمین و آنانی که در مدارس با کودکان در زنگ تفریح کار میکنن از طریق Tools of Growth هستن. ایشون در برنامه‌های گذشته در مامتاک شرکت کردن، بسیار مطالب پرارزش و آموزنده‌ای دارن. در کلیپی که مشاهده کردین کنفرانس ایوالو که ایشون به اصطلاح امسال در نیویورک خواهند بود و شرکت میکنن و آموزش و تعلیم میدن مادران و پدران و آموزگارانی که دوست دارن یاد بگیرن مطالب استثنایی در رابطه با ایوالو، Conscious Parenting و Dr. Shefali. Welcome to the show, Roma.
Thank you.
Good to
It's
have
a pleasure to be here. This is home now, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Thank you so much.
So tell us about Evolve. What did we just see this conference? Give us information.
So this was a clip from last year at the Evolve 2015 conference. And basically with the leadership of Dr. Shefali, what she's done with this conference is brought together parents in really a very unique and grassroots way to really understand what consciousness means and then how they can bring that into parenting and really create those connections between parents and children and be able to take that back into their day-to-day life. We started out with, of course, I moderated the event last year, which was an absolute pleasure. We had so many amazing speakers, but really going back to the core of what Dr. Shefali does, as I said, she really makes you understand what the meaning of consciousness is and how you can have that play into your day-to-day parenting with issues with the children, whether you have fights or disagreements or problems with boundaries or whatever it might be. There's a way of bringing consciousness, awareness, and that space into that place of disconnect. And really what parents walked away with over the course of the weekend. And the importance of being there for the weekend is the experience. When you experience something repeatedly, it then becomes part of who you are and you start to connect with it and start to understand. So taking this time away, which hundreds of parents are doing globally at this conference, they've taken the time away from their day-to-day to invest into parenting. Just like we would go to a meditation retreat or like we would go to a health conference or go on a vacation. These things really help us be better at what we do, and the idea with Evolve, the Conscious Way, Dr. Shefali's summit is really to solidify.
Bringing enormous, massive value to the gift of parenting. This gift that we're given through our children, conscious parenting, PeaceLearning parenting, to be able to connect, focus on our relationships, and what a valuable experience. And I can't wait to hear all about it when you return from this retreat.
Yes, again
it would
this
be
year. coming up
Fantastic.
in 2 weeks.
So if parents want to enroll and
Yes.
attend this conference, who do they contact?
www.drshefali.com. You can register there, and as soon as you get on the page, you'll see Evolve. Look for the word EVOLVE, the Conscious Way Summit. Click on that, and you can register. We have a few spots left, not many, so please, hurry up if you're still planning to attend. And the one thing that I must say, Nelly, that the audience walked away was, so much parental confidence. So much confidence in, yes, now I know who I am. Now I know what my triggers are. Now I know what my shortcomings are. Because Dr. Shefali actually runs the entire audience through exercises in identifying your own triggers, what gets you, what derails you, where do you lose your cool, and really helps you get deep within in that particular issue that you have with yourself, and to then evolve from that point, and hence the word evolve. Say, how can I do this better? Because no matter which way we look at it, what we're trying to do with our children is build those relationships, build those connections, and alongside give them this gift of understanding themselves. So if we make that effort to understand ourselves, then we gift that to them as well.
Wonderful. And parents like yourself, I know our dear friend Arayan Nurizi, she has been on Mom Talk and she's talked about her personal experience. There are so many parents, هر کجای دنیا که هستین، اگر در به اصطلاح آمریکا هستین یا اروپا هستین یا حتی ایران، این کنفرانس رو میتونین شرکت بکنین. در نیویورک هستش، نیویورک سیتی هستش، همونطور که روما اشاره کرد میتونین به وبسایت دکتر شفالی برین. It's also posted on your website.
Absolutely,
I've seen
absolutely.
the flyers.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can go toolsofgrowth.com. You can go to Dr. Shefali's website, get information on this wonderful, wonderful conference, retreat, if you may, where you can really treat yourself as a parent to learn more about basic conscious parenting skills. And it's fantastic. It's a movement. It's transformational.
It's truly, truly transformational. In fact, I had a big group. I encouraged all the parents that followed me and through my workshops and through my events to come to the conference last year. And some of the words that they used really they melt your heart.
Yeah.
Transformational. My family is changed forever.
Yes.
I have a connection with my kids that I never had before. This has been life-changing for me. This has been life-changing with my relationship with my husband. So for me, it was life-changing with, my relationship with my mom-in-law. So everybody walked away with such depth and such self-understanding and self-discovery, because if we look at it, this process of life, all of it is a process of self-discovery. This is what we're doing through our relationships, is discovering ourselves, and really being able to take that weekend to hone in on it, to focus on it. You come back a different person altogether.
Fantastic. What better way to celebrate Mental Health Awareness Month than to give this gift to ourselves as parents? And I don't think you necessarily need to be a parent. I think if you're an educator, if you work with children,
We have so many people in the audience that are not parents.
Trained
Absolutely.
professionals,
Yes.
you come to learn these basic conscious parenting skills as a parent, biological parent or not, how to handle children, how to help elevate, and how to nurture your own well-being as well as children's well-being in your community. And this is absolutely tightly connected to this wonderful process of growth, evolution. It's a movement that Dr. Shefali has been leading. I love her leadership. I love your leadership, and I can't wait to hear all about it. Unfortunately, because of our twins' birthdays, I'm unable to be there, but I'll be there in spirit.
Yes, you will.
I can't
Yes, you
wait
will.
to hear all about it.
Yes.
So go and register. Like Roma said, a few spots left. drshefali.com, toolsofgrowth.com, and be involved. This is one wonderful opportunity to elevate your own consciousness and to be able to pass this gift on to your community.
And there's so much power, Nelly, in coming together.
Yes.
Because, you know, just like when you go to a workout class or you go to a dance class,
That's
you
right.
go, you know, you do this in a group
Yeah.
because it really helps pick up the energy and it helps elevate you. So when that group comes together, there's something very magical about the elevation of consciousness in the room. And
right.
really, you know that when you can elevate consciousness together in a room to that level, then you're contributing to the consciousness of the world.
That's correct. It is through mind's emergence and emerging minds and consciousness that we can really tap into that unity, that essence
oneness.
of light, that oneness.
Yes.
Thank you. And so we as a community can do this to bring more peace into our worlds. The global peace that we all like to contribute to, this is one step you can take, an active role in bringing peace and peace learning into your lives.
And if this is the only step you take,
yeah.
if this in itself is the only step that you take, this is the biggest contribution you'll
Yes.
ever make
Yes.
to humanity and society.
Wonderful. So let's talk about conscious parenting. I know many parents who are faced with day-to-day challenges of managing time. I know time management is a big,
It's a big thing,
big
yes.
one, right? Managing stress, stress management, managing one's daily activities. So how do we shift from the doing mode or doing frame of mind into a being mode where we're focused on living with presence and being mindful?
Yeah.
I know mindfulness is something that you value a lot.
A lot, yes.
And you focus on it a lot, and you lead with mindfulness a lot
Yes.
in your relationships. So let's talk about this for our audience.
So everything, I believe, starts with that self-awareness, starts with being able to take that step back yourself and tapping into it. You know, once you, let's talk about, you know, we're women here, so let's talk about weight.
There you
okay?
go.
Which is
That's a
each
good
one of
one.
ours,
Yes.
you know, challenges, right? So once you tap into the benefits of losing weight, for example, then you're more inclined to do it again the next time and the next time, or to maintain your health. Once you start to see the benefits of it, whether it's high cholesterol or just the number on the scale or how your clothes fit you, whatever your motivation is, once you tap into it, that feeling inside of you is what you go for again and again. Similarly, if we were to take that into parenting, you know, we're so into the doing. If we take that moment and tap into what the being feels like, then there's so much power in using that presence, using that being, and turning it back into your doing, and really using that as an anchor, as a harness to still continue doing what you have to do. Because let's face it, as parents, you know, we've got our responsibilities, whether it's, you know, children's meals or our chores or things that need to be done, maintenance of the house and the cars and their school schedules. You know, these are real things that each one of us is faced with. But how do we do it with a presence of mind where our focus is just on that? That's the being in the doing. The being in the doing is not meditating while you're doing it,
That's right.
but really paying attention and focusing on that which you are doing at that current moment. And it takes practice. And once you tap into that, then it becomes a habit. And of course, like anything else, it's a habit that should be cultivated, that takes time. And it starts with very, very small, simple steps of taking a break, taking a pause, reflecting inwards, managing emotions. I have a tool called Dealing with the Feeling, you know, taking those 3 steps to the spot it, say it, okay it, or the 3 steps, spot the feeling, say it out loud, okay that feeling, so that you really start to do this inner work. That first step to do this inner work is what cultivates the habit as you move along in caring for yourself and for your children.
That's right. many of you parents who have reached out to me regarding time management complain about we are constantly on a hamster's wheel, right?
Yes.
It feels like we're running and running and running and never able to catch on and relax. This is why you need to step down, step off of it, and be more present, be more mindful of what you're doing here and now. And believe me, you will notice the time slowing down before your eyes. Children will notice it. When I am in that zone, when I'm living with presence, I get constant love and feedback from my children, which gives me even more encouragement and reinforces me to do it more because they notice, right?
Absolutely.
They just with their hugs and kisses, and they come and connect because you are connecting with us.
Yes.
You're focusing on the relationship.
Yes.
You're valuing that connection.
Yes.
And
that
it's
has a very
amazing.
high level of vibration.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about the EMF of the heart, the electromagnetic frequency. Dr. Jay Kumar talks about this. He started a new institute called ABSI, which is Applied Brain Science Research Institute, ABSRI. And he's in Orange County, and really the knowledge and value that he brings to understanding the brain and how it functions and how the heart is connected to the brain. I attended one of his classes at UPR, at University of Philosophical Research, and there he talked about the frequency, the EMF of the heart being 10,000 times stronger than that of any other organ in our body.
Fascinating.
And now imagine if we start to take what we do and connect it through the heart. That's the point. So we, usually think that, or we've been accustomed to think that it's the brain that decides and gives the orders and is the strongest and it's what leads, but actually we should allow the heart to lead. And in that it takes a little bit of work. It does take a little bit of effort for us to really harness that and understand that. And one of the ways that I started doing this years and years ago, I'm talking about 20 years ago, when I realized that I feel like I'm on the hamster wheel. I'm going from one thing to another, and I thought, I wonder how many things a day I do. So I decided that at the end of the day, I would start writing down everything that I did. And as I noted that list of things that I did, at the end of the day, the following day, I realized that on that list, I missed, I didn't add this to my list yesterday. I didn't add this to my list yesterday. And so I'd start filling in the gaps on that same sheet of paper, and my list just built daily. So I did this for a whole week, and I had 6 pages of different things that I did as a mom every single day. And I really thought about how many of these do I even remember doing? That was the second step. How many of these things do I remember doing? And honestly, half of them I didn't even remember doing because you just go on autopilot, you just go through the motions. And that was a big awakener for me. Thought, okay, I am raising children here. This is not
okay.
Exactly. This is not acceptable. This is, and that's why. And I started to really, as I did this process of self-reflection, I started to think about my children, saying, "But you're not listening to me, Mom. But Mom, you're not listening. Mom, are you listening?" And me saying, "Yeah, I'm listening. I'm listening." And so I thought, okay, no more of that. Let me try to do less and be better at it, at least to a point where I feel satisfied. So for me, that was the first step to managing the time crunch. And one of the most important things I did was evaluated the children's activities, because this was an excuse. I'm running around for the children. This is for their benefit. This is for their well-being. This is so they can get into college. All this stuff that we play in our head. Dr. Shefali calls this the myth of parenting. The myths of parenting is this,
it's a myth.
Exactly. We believe that we are doing this for our children, but really, in essence, our children really don't care to be in 20 activities. They'd rather sit with you and have some downtime. They'd rather spend some time connecting and really taking that break.
That's correct. I couldn't agree more. And I know that for those of you who are conscious parents and you get this stuff and you know and feel it in your heart, it's that connection between the heart of the brain and the brain of the heart that you get to integrate
That's
and
lovely.
emerges in your mind. And we need relationships, folks. We need relationships. So you and I having this conversation, our minds are emerging and we're communicating and sharing this experience, this personal and educational experience with all of you. And we value it. We are focused on it. I know we're laser focused.
Yes, yes.
And it's important. So,
And that's what the
Yeah.
audience reads. And this
Yeah.
is a great example if we were to use this interaction
Yeah.
as an example of what the audience is reading.
Yes.
The more focused we are, the more engaged we are, the more enjoyment we're getting out of this relationship and this conversation, the more the audience is enjoying it. That's just, you know, the reality that we're faced with. And so if you take this as an example
Beautiful.
and know that the more engaged you are with your children, the more you enjoy yourself. And enjoyment doesn't really mean that you have to agree with everything they're saying and give in to everything they're saying, but really to be able to have value in the conversation, to be able to come together. I call this communing.
Yes.
And communing in a sacred space. And that communing is where that translates into effective communication with the kids. And as we all
Beautiful.
know, that makes or breaks every relationship.
beautiful, which leads to our very important topic for today, raising mental health awareness, bringing better mental health to our homes, families, communities, schools. And one topic that is constantly a focus for, I know, many of these institutions or parents or families is how do we move from a dysfunctional type of communication to one that is embedded with peace learning, with mindfulness, with joy, with effective communication. And I know you are an expert in this field, so let's talk about this communion that you just beautifully talked about.
Sure. So if you look at the base word of communication, it's communion, right? It's commune. It's to come together. And oftentimes we don't realize that that's really the only single thing that we need to be able to make a connection with our children. If you look at why relationships break, why divorces happen, if you look at the top answers of the contributing reasons to that, it is because we weren't growing together, because we weren't happy, but because we weren't communicating anymore. So really, if you work the happiness and we weren't growing together, and if you work that backwards, it's all about we weren't sharing a common space anymore. And oftentimes it's the ego trip where, you come into my space and, or I come into your space. But with a parent and child, this dynamic is very different because you're the guide, you're the teacher, you're leading the children. This is, you're bringing them up under your leadership. And as all good leaders, and we talked about leadership even yesterday, as all good leaders, it's about that dance, about you take the lead sometimes, I take the lead sometimes, and having that balance. And really, when we communicate, when we commune, when we come together, and my book offers 5 very, very simple tools to do that, then we're able to make those connections.
One common sort of interwoven theme that comes up for families and couples and even in the educational system is not being seen. Whether you're a student, whether you're a child, whether you're a spouse, not being seen. They say what pain and suffering one experiences for not being seen.
Or heard. Yes, yes.
And I know in peace learning communication and your type of communication tools, really to stay focused of what is mind, right? And I know Dan Siegel in his latest Mind and Findings talks about this, how being seen in interconnection, interconnectivity, interwoven experience of souls or minds emerging is a big piece of mental health. So connection, relationship, face-to-face encounters, that is very much part of mental health and well-being. So going back to your point of cutting back on the doing and staying more connected to the being and being seen or seeing the other
Exactly.
in that dyadic relationship or triadic relationship is extremely valuable.
Extremely important.
Important.
Think about, one of the tools I give is sensible parenting, sense-able parenting. Using the ability of your senses to connect with your kids. Very simple. Nothing genius about this. We all have our 5 senses. However, when we are in the doing, our senses get disconnected because now we're focusing on something else. So it's about, as you said, that those simple ways of using our 5 senses, using our eyes to make that eye contact with our children, using our ears or listening to really listen to every word that they're saying, to let them complete their sentences, to use that touch, to touch them while they're speaking, especially when you're upset. I tell parents, when you are upset at children, when they have veered off your, your golden path that you had set them on, when they've made a mistake, when they have an issue, and you're talking to them about it, scolding them, whatever it is that you're doing, have that touch while you're talking to them, because that reassures them, I love you. However, we have a situation here, so let's talk about it. So that in the background you have that I love you always, that using of the senses, making the eye contact, hearing the children, being perceptive, using the nose knows. I have a whole chapter dedicated in my book, says the nose knows, our sense of perception, really using these 5 senses to communicate with our children brings that presence, makes you present in the moment, and pulls you, bringing that being into the doing, really pulls you into the moment. And that's all you need to do when it comes to children. Then you're sharing that space with them. You're not interrupting what they're saying. You're letting them talk through. And oftentimes, as we all know, we're parents here, when we let our children talk through situations, then we're actually promoting conflict resolution and so many different things that we bring to the table.
And I love Malika's work on setting an intent in the relationship, in the context of relationship. And I love that by teaching your children the value of intent and how to connect to their intentions. And this can be at very early age. I have done this with our children, and I tell you, they really get excited in finding their intent in every situation. And we've had like a very open conversation, ongoing
How did you define intent to them? I'd love to hear that.
So I said to them, and so our little one, she just turned 7, and the twins are going to be 9 soon. I said, when you have this quiet moment when you're sitting by yourself or meditating, because they know how to meditate, you connect to your inner self, that deep sense of who you are, and they all know about that feeling. Yes. And so when you're doing something or thinking about doing something, or in the process of using that energy or that connection to connect to something outside of you, what does that feel like, and what do you want to connect with? How would you like to connect with? So they kind of get the sense of, okay, so by setting their intention, it's different than goals. So we defined, goals are different from intent, and they're very familiar with goals,
Sure.
right? Because they talk about them in school all the time, and they're intellectually very aware of goals. But now they know about intent, and going into any situation, it's your being, your values, what you're drawn to, what you respect. I use respect with them, and they like that connection. And just being honest, it taps into that deep honesty, genuine feelings that you have deep down about something, and not judging it.
Right.
Because it's important at stages and ages of development that they're authentic.
Yes.
So if, for example, our
And we have
older
no problem with children for them to be authentic.
It's good.
It's us adults that have an issue with that we have to really
That's
say,
right.
okay, let me make an effort
That's
to
right.
be authentic. Let me
That's
be honest.
right.
Let
That's
me be
right.
real. For children, this is who they are.
It's natural.
It's
This
who
is
they
who
are.
they are.
Yeah.
This is who they are. Exactly. And I have learned from them many
much,
times,
yeah.
so much.
I always say our children are our biggest teachers.
That's right.
They are our
They
biggest
are.
teachers, and our soulmates.
Yes.
They make us a better human being.
Yes.
They really extract our best out from us, through the trials and the issues that we have with our children. I feel like I am who I am because of my relationship with my children, the ride with the kids, because not only will they test your patience and, your unconditional love and your compassion and your kindness and all those human, very important character traits, but they also help you peel the layers off and discover who you truly are at the core and what you're bringing to the table. They call you on it. And how can there be a bigger teacher than that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I have been honored to parent our three, and I do believe, as Dr. Shefali mentions, that they are gifts to help us grow and have better understandings of consciousness and the relationship, right? And so I think when you're focused on intent, you, as a family, as a community, you can really explore it. You can really tap into what really is important. What are we here for, right? What's my calling? And I think if we start early enough, the foundation of that, the value of that in early years can be huge, because then they'll have more life experiences to grow in their intent and their ways of connecting to the world.
And I know this is a big topic with Malika. This is, with Malika Chopra, this is her main living with intent. This is her message, and intent.com. And we're going to be seeing her this weekend. Not this weekend, on Friday, actually.
That's right.
We have a Warrior Moms event that I'll let you tell everyone about.
There we go.
And I'm so excited because I think what we should do, Nelly, is we should ask her to define intent from a child's, like, how do you explain that to a child in a sentence, and have her give us perhaps different developmental stages and phases, perhaps a little definition.
That's right.
Because I think that would be so valuable pull children into this.
So valuable.
Yeah, how wonderful that you're using it with your kids already.
Yeah, and I'm learning a lot from them because they get the feeling, the connection, the desire, the soulfulness, the soul connection. But for them, every sort of relationship or thing that they're experiencing has its own essence.
Yes, and it's not mired.
That's right.
It's not layered, it's not covered.
That's right.
It's pure.
It's pure.
I mean, they could think about being I want to be an astronaut tomorrow.
Yeah, there you go. And they do, and they go there, right? And it's beautiful. It's their creativity and their flow. And so we're so honored and excited to host this Warrior Mom event.
And thank you for hosting it, by the way, Nelly.
It is our pleasure, my pleasure. Roma and Malika Chopra, RomaKhetarpal, Tools of Growth, and Malika Chopra, Living with Intent, will be our guest of honors, and the Warrior Moms is hosting this special event at our home, and we have lots of moms from different walks of life.
Do you still have tickets open? Registration still open?
Barely. It is, no. I think, don't quote me on this, because I'm not managing the tickets or that end of it. So if you are still interested, I know it may not be available to you, but it's worth a try, and you can go on thewarriormoms.co, the website, and request for more information. I know that they had decided to close, and we were very, very close to closing.
Just being a part of such a great tribe, if you will, such a great group is wonderful. And of course, Malika brings a whole different dynamic of calm and peace into the room anyway, so I'm so excited about it.
So is Roma, by the way. I am so honored every time I have this opportunity to connect with your soul and have this exchange and this relationship. It elevates me, and it brings peace.
Likewise, I've said this on previous shows that this is really starting to feel like home for me. I love when you call me and say, can you come, let's talk about this. It really, the work that you're doing and really having all of this morph into PeaceLearning parenting, is such a
This is what Mom Talk is all about, you folks. And I invite you all who are watching and interested to join the Mom Talk community to please contact us, and we would love to have you. I'm Skyping now with guests and moms and dads and those who are interested, so we can definitely try Skyping and staying in touch. We like to encourage you and empower you as parents and as human beings to come and join this Peace Learning group of family, like I call it the MomTalk family.
It is a
and
family, yeah.
come and join us. Let's start this communion. Let's start this connectional being and elevate and evolve together. We are better together.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. And I think that these conversations, this platform is a very strong way of inviting parents to extract that best self, because each one of us has what I like to call our inner perfection. Each one of us is gifted with that inner perfection, and when we surround ourselves with such strong content, then we're headed in the right direction of that self-discovery, which is this journey of life.
That's right.
Yeah.
This journey of love and life.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah.
All right, let's shift gears a little bit. You do a lot of work with schools and school districts, and I know training educators and counselors and teachers who work on the playgrounds or come to face children having conflicts on the
Yes.
playground. That's your specialty, and it's something you do with Tools of Growth in
Yes,
your
yes.
organization. So give us more information on this. Many parents have struggled with this. I have had parents in my office who have been so disappointed in the educational system, and they say, you know, our child was bullied, and, you know, we had a physical issue, a child was hurt, there was a fight on the playground, a child was given wrong information. So all of this is very personal to many of you who struggle with this.
To every parent.
To every parent.
To every
To every
single
parent.
parent. I think
Yeah.
issues like this
That's
are
right.
very personal
That's right.
because what we're doing with school is we're
Yeah.
really letting our children, we're letting the school be the caretaker of our children. And then we have expectations.
That's right.
We expect that they will do the best job that they can. And I think, in every school's defense, the system is geared to do the best that they can. But to be able to provide this continuing education for all the caretakers is so important.
Yeah.
And this program called the Mindful Play Leader Program and the Mindful Teacher Training Program has become such an important element of creating connections with children and really teaching them mindfulness and that social emotional learning and helping them succeed not just academically but also contributing to their life success. And emotional intelligence is that piece that I advocate a lot within these workshops, and really empowering the adults, giving them very concrete tools. And the first year program was the first of its kind, district wide. So
Fantastic.
about 75 yard duties or campus supervisors, as they're called, were brought together at Saugus Union School District. And this has never been done in the history of the country, to really train the recess care staff on how to manage children when, with emotional intelligence, with mindfulness, and really to bring communication, that communing that we're talking about, into the moment-to-moment management of children. Yeah.
So communication, peace learning communication, peaceful communication, your ability to come up with solutions when there is a conflict, that you can guide children ages and stages of development to use mindfulness and coming up with solutions when they're in a conflict. And we all know conflicts come up all the time.
And they're supposed to.
And they're supposed to.
It's what contributes to our children's growth.
That's right.
And learning, yeah.
That's right. So by allowing children to work through those conflicts, but maybe sometimes giving them tools so that they can manage those conflicts better, we're doing them a service. We are teaching them peace learning, mindfulness, and their tools of growth to elevate and move in their social, emotional intelligence realm. And I know that this is very important to you. It's very close to your passion and your calling in life. And I'm so excited for you.
Thank you. And the response has been amazing.
Yes.
I've just signed on the 3rd school district.
Fantastic.
And if, in our audience, if any of you would like this program brought to your school, please contact me at roma@toolsofgrowth.com, and I'd be happy to connect with, with the faculty at your school to bring this to your school. The response has been amazing. It's been so positive. The campus supervisors, the recess staff feel so empowered and more confident in being able to manage children, because they're all actually relieved and said, finally, somebody is giving me some tools, because they do not get, they have no prerequisites for hire, and they do not get any formal training. Of course, they get safety training, but on emotional management, there's no training whatsoever. So really, under the umbrella of mindfulness, giving these recess staff tools to manage children step by step, in the moment to moment, is so important, because most number of complaints come from the schoolyard and from before and after school. So what Saugus Union School District has done this year is they've also brought this program to their before school and after school staff. So now all their the staff that takes care of these kids gets the same tools. The children are all managed the same way, and I'm currently working on parent workshops so that we bring these tools to children from all different directions.
Beautiful. So there's that strong homeschool connection. There is mindfulness in training these counselors or teachers, part-time teachers, to really tap into their social, emotional intelligence and how to guide children through their experiences and play experiences, how to make those play experiences more peaceful. And children are more confident when they're able to resolve conflicts more peacefully, right?
Children, and this is what builds their core. I like to call it their inner core intelligence.
That's right.
The 5 modules: the self-love, the self-respect, the self-confidence, the self-esteem, the self-reliance. It really helps build that for these children and really helps strengthen their core. Which what are we? The whole purpose of having children in a school environment is that. And I think that of the last, decade or two, that focus on academics is now shifting. Yes, it's important. The academics are definitely important for the kids, but equally important are these life skills that we want to give children. Equally important is this direction that we want to give children to build their inner core intelligence, which all of them have. But it's up to the adults to harness that. And even the mindful teacher trainings have been very successful because, let's face it, with the budget cuts and all the weight of what the workload that the teachers carry, they just don't have enough time to pay attention to the small details. And in that affects the children. They feel like they're ignored, or the teacher doesn't listen to me. And one of the best responses that I've gotten from teachers across the board has been, this is such a great reminder, such a great reminder for me to create that connection with my children on a day-to-day basis.
That's right. And we know now through research and research findings that by practicing and incorporating or integrating, if you may, mindfulness into the classrooms and the curriculum, that you elevate, you enhance the learning experience for children.
Dr. Dan Siegel talks about this.
That's right.
Emotional intelligence, which is one of the biggest pieces of my mindfulness, is the driving force for a child's academic success and life success. And I think that enough parents do not know this research, and the more we talk about it, the more we bring it to the forefront.
And I love what our school is doing. So at Curtis School, we have a school psychologist, Dr. Sarah Fraser, who has integrated mindfulness into the curriculum. So the school's curriculum is now well connected to mindfulness schools and mindfulness practices within classrooms, as well as bringing a meditation center to her on-campus office where children are able to go into the space, this mindfulness or meditation center, if you may, and use mindfulness practices to bring more peace or peace learning into their relationships with friends and friendship. And oftentimes, I love that kids, these are elementary school kids, you all, that they have the awareness to know when there is a conflict on the playground, to take that into this space, whether it's through mindfulness or through talking and connecting with their school psychologist, that they are empowered and able to get back on this healthy connectional being and their well-being.
Yes, and just to define mindfulness, being mindful simply is being aware of our thoughts, our feelings, our expressions, and those of others, which is pretty much the same definition as emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize and understand our own feelings, our thoughts, our expressions, and those of others. So really, they're so tied in
They're so
together.
tied in. Yeah, so tied in, and it helps to talk to our children and our kids and using the same language. Oftentimes, I feel like in the field of mindfulness, sometimes we're not talking about the same thing. So it helps if we define it in our families, in our schools, like you just defined it very well for our viewers. And I know Malika Chopra talks about this, how she likes to use the word awareness as opposed to mindfulness.
Sure.
So when we use awareness, we're talking about our collective or individual experiences to become more aware of our emotions, our partner's emotions.
And again, pay attention to.
Pay attention
right?
to.
Yeah.
Be
I think these are
attuned
such
to.
attuned, attention.
Attunement.
Yeah, exactly.
And so if we as individuals, if we can value this, and if we can practice it, and if we can understand that this is important, this is showing better learning experiences for kids. So if you're a parent who is really goal-oriented and you like to see your kids become successful academically, listen, the research is out. And
Yes.
the evidence is there by meditating, by using mindfulness practices, by being a mindful parent or having awareness in your relationship with
No
your
better
child.
way to teach the child than to be it yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so you are reducing the risk of mental illness or mental health problems,
Of course.
difficulties. You are elevating well-being and wellness in your family and your relationship with yourself and others. And you are bringing more peace learning into your community and your circle of life. So it's extremely important, it's extremely valuable. I highly recommend and encourage you to take a look and read Dr. Dan Siegel's book. His latest, the title is Mind.
I can't wait to read that.
It is incredible. I've started reading it, and it's just really very empowering. It helps you understand what is the mind, how do you connect with your own being and your deep sense of self in a relationship. So it's definitely in connection with another human being or another being, and how do you understand this emergence of mind and being connected at the soul. Very, very important.
And I love his work. I think Dr. Siegel,
He's incredible.
You know,
He's incredible.
One of the first works that I read of his
Yeah.
was Mindsight.
Yes, yes. And
And,
parenting from the inside
and
out.
Parenting
That's
from
a
the
very
Inside
good
Out blew my
link.
mind.
Yeah.
And then he wrote The Whole Brain Child with
That's
Tina
right,
Bryson.
that's
And I
right.
just have such a strong connection with his work because he gives you both. He gives
Yeah.
you the scientific background as well as
The spiritual
you know,
aspect.
exactly
Yeah.
the spiritual
Yeah.
part of actually making that connection and
Yeah.
very concrete hands-on tools to do that.
Yes,
So I
yes.
just love his work.
I love his work. He's not only a scientist, but a spiritual being.
Yes.
And he has a lot of wisdom.
And you had the opportunity to meet him recently.
I have
Yeah.
met him several times. I had the opportunity to
Just
interview
recently
him.
at Wisdom 2.0,
Yeah.
right?
No,
Yeah.
not Wisdom. Sages and
Sages and
Scientists with
Scientists,
Deepak
right,
Chopra.
yeah.
And he is just incredible in elevating your spiritual being. When you meet that emergence of mind, happens so organically with him. I've met him several times, and I always attend the interpersonal, neuroscience conference
yeah.
at UCLA. And so he is one of those beings, one of those leaders, I should say, in bringing spiritual awareness and combining it with sciences and scientific facts and evidence. And so if you are a scientist and you're looking for really good research findings, again, Mind is an incredible book. If you're a spiritual being and you like to become more aware, Mind is a great book. But I can't wait for our Warrior Mom event.
Yes,
And
this Friday.
This Friday. And would love to hear about Evolve when you return.
Yes, can't wait.
And thank you for being here. It was a fabulous
Thank you for
show.
having me. It's
Thank
always a
you.
pleasure. Thank you so much, and thank you all.
Bye.